Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel again, and this video is in the continuation of the last video which we did by scrapping Stack Overflow. So what we will do, we will make APIs for that particular thing which we did. So this is the program which I wrote for that, and I have added one more thing, this tags, if you can see. So someone asked me in the comments that he want to show these tags, so I have used list comprehension here to get the tags using the post tag CSS selector. And then I'm doing one more thing, guys. I am adding this sort keys to true and indentation to 4 to this dumps method, so that you don't get that JSON validation issue if you are using JSON lint, because sometimes because of the spaces you can get that. So it will fix that. So I'll just show you that. One second guys, I'll just clean it up. One second. Okay, so this is what we have, and now I'll just run python StackOverflow.py and you will see something like this. So this looks much more cleaner, and now if you'll copy and paste it, it will not give you any kind of error. So now we are going to use the new thing, which is Django. So Django is a web framework for Python, and you can use it to build mobile web applications basically, and you can also use this Django REST framework to build web APIs. So we'll use this as well. And sorry for the background noise, I cannot really help it. So now moving forward, in this particular folder, which is python 2k19, I'm gonna create a Django project. So before that, make sure that you have Python installed, also pip env is also installed, and then you can write pip in and install Django first. So it will install Django for you. Okay, installing Django, and by default it will download the latest version of Django, and the latest version is 2.2. Then also you can write Django REST framework. Let's install that as well. Okay, and it will install that as well. And then if I go to pip file, I can see I have request, beautiful, soap, Django, and Django REST framework, which is perfect. Now yeah, I have the virtual environment already selected. Now what I'll do, in some window, what I'll do, so I'll use the Django admin command. So Django admin start project to start a new project, and I'm gonna name it DJ for Django and stack for Stack Overflow. Okay, so DJ stack, and this has created this particular, you can see, folder for this particular task. Now I will go to this folder, DJ stack, and I'll open this folder in a new window. So code dot. So this is my new window, and I have this particular thing. So there is a folder DJ stack and manage.py. So let's talk about manage.py here. So manage.py will manage the commands which I will run, and it is importing OS system and all that. You don't have to get into it. Just it's kind of a script which will run all the things related to Python or Django. So then we have DJ stack folder, where we have this __init__.py file, which actually represent that this is a package. So here few lines of codes can be here, but right now Django does not give you anything. It's just representing a package. Then we have settings.py, where we will have all the settings. And good thing about Django is that the documentation is kind of good. So for everything you will find links like this. So this is importing OS, then there's a base directory, then secret key, debug is true, allowed host, then installed apps. So these are the apps which are already installed. So in Django, everything in terms of modules, we call it apps. So let's say you have an e-commerce application already, or e-commerce project, then there will be a product, so you will make a product app. Then you will have some APIs for that, you will make API app, product API. Then you will have some cart, so you can make a cart app. So you can like differentiate between them using this application, and you already get few apps like admin for maintaining that admin panel and all, for authentication, content types, messages, static files to store static files. Then some middlewares are there. Then there is some code for templates, how they are storing, which directory they are using. Then there is, you can see this is the databases link, and by default Django comes with SQLite 3, and if you want you can change it to Postgres or whatever you want. Then password validation, and then we have some you can say some language code, time zone and all. It's by default UTC, so let's make it Asia/Kolkata. Okay, this is what we have. Then we have static URL. Static, we will talk about it later. Static files, how to store those static files and all. Now here what I'll do, in the installed app I'll add one app which is REST framework, which we just this is also an application, so we need to include this here in the installed apps. Then we have urls.py, where we will specify all the URLs that when you will go to any website, then you will write www.facebook.com/home or something like that, so slash and all that stuff will be here. So this is our URLs. And then we have WSGI, and this is basically for deployment, so we are not getting into it, so I will talk about it later future. And then we will create now one new app for this particular project. And why we are doing that? Because the purpose is that we want to differentiate our module. So for API, right now for API we will make another application. So how we can make it? So first of all, I'll go to the shell, pip n dot and space shell. Now I'm in the shell. Now I'll write python manage.py and start app for new app. Okay, and then name would be, let's say, stack API. Okay. Oh, this is saying that Python is managed. Okay, so by default the shell opened in the previous like if I'll write ls, then you can see in this previous folder. Now I want to first of all go to dj stack, and then I'll just clear it, and then I will run python manage.py start app stack API, and it will create this stack API folder for me, which will also have some files like migration for migrating our models, for which will be used for databases. Then admin, where we will register our model so that it can show in the admin panel, and this is necessary. And then apps, where our app configs would reside. By right now we don't have to even touch it. Then we have models, where we will create our models for the tables of our database. Then we have test. We don't we are not using test for the time being. We are not writing any test. And then we have views, where we can define our views and business logic if we want. So this is our app. And now similarly, like we added REST framework to installed apps, we will add this stack API as well, because this is another app. Now we are done. Now what I'll do, I'll write python manage.py run server, and I can specify any URL here if I want with the port number. But if I don't specify, then it will take the local host. If I'll just click enter, then you can see it has started the development server at this particular URL with port 8000. Now if I'll just click here, then you can see the install worked successfully. Congratulations, Django has started working, and the version you can see Django 2.2. And now we are done with this. But you can see you have 17 unapplied migration, which means that there are some tables which has been made using these apps, admin, auth, content types, all these names are here. So you need to migrate that. So we will migrate this later. So this is what we have as of now. Now what we will do, now we will write our first application. So this is our stack API. What we will do, we will create a folder file here, which is urls.py. so this is going to be the same as the main urls.py file, which is in the dj stack folder. So now what I'll do, I'll just copy this lines of code, and we will go to this apps urls.py, and we will paste it here. So by default, if you'll go to the main urls.py, then here is a path /admin/. Okay, so by default it comes after /admin/. So what I want to use for every application, like I have stack API, which is an application. For every other application I will have this urls.py, and here I can specify if I want to have any kind of, you can say, like URL, okay, for this particular app. So right now I'm not gonna have anything, so by default it will be blank, which is, you can say, kind of normal slash only. Okay, now to include this URLs, I will go back to my main URL. I will import path include, so that I can include all the URLs from all the different apps. So first of all I need that app. So what I'll do, I will say from dot import stack API. Oh, sorry, we'll just write import stack API, and then here I'll write stack. Okay, this is the by default path for our stack related stuff. So by default it is stack, and here I can use include, and then I can say stack API dot URLs. Okay, we are done. Now it is saying module stack API has no attribute URLs. Oh, we have forgot something. So what we can do, we can say from stack API import URLs, and we can just write something like this. Okay, now this error should go. Now what I'll do, I have this URL, this is stack, and it is redirecting myself to this stack. And now if I'll go to the stack API, here this path takes 3 arguments. One will be the URL, second will be where to route or which method to call or which class to go, and then the name of that particular method or the name how you will specify that URL. So we will now go to views, and we will create our first view. Let's call it def index. It will take an request in the parameter, and I will so first let me just select the virtual environment from here, and now I will use Django.http import http response. Okay, so when I'll come to this index, I want to return http response, and here I will just return success. Okay, now this index I have to specify in the URLs. So here I will first of all import views. So from dot views import, let's say index, from dot views, or we can just write import. Okay, from dot views import index, and then we can specify here index. Okay, and then we can also give it a name, let's say index. This name will help us in defining the URL when we will be making web application or web front end, so it will help. So right now you can skip it if you don't want, you can just delete it, so it will be fine. So now let's start our server again and let's see if it works. So yes, so it is working as of now. If I'll go again, then you will see the error on slash, but we have specified this URL which is stack. So on stack slash, which is this, we should get this, which is success. So I'll just append here slash stack, and then you can see success. So this thing has worked for us. Now what I actually want, this is working pretty perfectly. Now I will go to my URLs. Okay, and then our model. So we will create few models so that we can make API on the basis of what we want to actually make. So we want to make a question related API, and these questions we are fetching from, or we are pulling from StackOverflow. So if I'll go back to my this project or this particular file StackOverflow.py, you can see we have a few questions, then vote count, then views, and then text. So similarly we will create a model here for this. So we will create question class where it will use models.model as inherited class, and then we will have all the fields for this model. Like when you use database, you create few fields. So this is the same thing. This will make a table in the database. So first field would be the question itself. So I can just say question, and then I can use models dot what kind of field it will be. So question will be a char field. So basically it will be a string. So we can specify the maximum length for this, and let's specify it to be 250. So the question can be this much long, or maybe let's make it 300, something like this. Okay, then it will have a vote count. So vote count, it will be an integer field. So we will write models, okay, dot integer field, and we will give it a default value, let's say to 0. Then we will have views will be models dot char field, and then char field, and then we can give it somewhere like max length to be what you want to give. Let's give it 50, somewhere like 50. 50 is sufficient for views. And then this is the length of the characters, right? So 50 is good. And then we have tags. Technically it should be a list. For that we have to make a different class, different model basically, and then we can maybe we can make some relation between them. But for the time being, let's make it a character field only. And for the tags we can specify the max length to be, let's say, 250. Okay, these will be the tags. Okay, this is what we have, the question class. This will be our model, this will be our everything. Now we need to register this model to our this admin, where you can see register your models here, so that when we will have the admin panel, then these things will be there. So how we can register it? We will use this admin dot site dot register. So register, and now we can specify some models. So first of all, I will import from dot import models. Okay, and then, or we can also write from models dot from models import question, and we can directly register question here. Now this is registered. We have the models ready, we have the URL ready. Now what I want now, I have, if I'll go here, no installed app with label admin, there is an error with our model. Let's go there and let's see if we have done something wrong here. I don't think so. So let's try to first of all run the server, and let's see if, oh, so we are getting some error, no installed app with label admin, which means that we are probably making some mistake here in this particular model. So let's see if we are doing any kind of mistake. So I guess this is fine, this looks good, this is also looking good. Okay, so let's try to find out the error where it is. And guys, there is some error. Okay, so sometimes you will get some error like this, and you have to identify from where that so this is some error with the admin. And basically this kind of model, name model, is not defined, they are saying. Okay, so let's try to specify. Oh shit, so this is the mistake, I have not used here models. Now if I'll try to run the server, it should work. No module named models as well. Oh, this is interesting. This is fine, I guess. Okay. Okay, from models import questions. I don't think there is any kind of issue anymore. Why we are getting this error? This is the good question. Okay, now let's try if we get something like this. Okay, we are clearly getting some error here from models. Oh shit, so we have to write from dot models. Okay, this is fine. So there was some error, we have fixed it. Now we can still say that we have some migration issues. So first of all, what I'll do, I will shut down this server, I'll just clear it, and now I'll write python manage.py migrate. So what it will do, it will do the migration for all the existing tables, which is admin, auth, and all that. So for all those it will do the migration. Now what I want, I also want to register my these model, this question model. So I will write python manage.py make migration for my this app, which is stack API, and make migrations. It should be S, and you can see it has created this model question. And now I'll do the migration again. So migrate, and it will migrate this as well. Okay, now what we want to create the super user, or the for using the admin panel, we have to create a super user which will access all those stuff. So we can write python manage.py run server. Oh sorry, run server, we don't have to write run server, we will write create super user, and then it will ask for a username. Let's make it admin. Email address, let's leave it blank. Then password, right now I'm writing admin, and then again admin. It will give me an error. Yes, the password is too similar to the username, it should contain at least 8 characters, or you can bypass it. So I'll just right now bypass it. It's admin for the time being, but it will suggest you that it's not a good password, and it's very right. So I have just bypassed it. Now if I will go to URLs, main URLs, then you will see that this is the admin URL which is already registered. So now if I'll run my server Python, where it is python manage.py run server, then you will see that we don't have now those warnings of the migration. And now if I'll go to this URL, if I write /admin, then it will open this admin panel for me. Now I can write admin and login, and now you can see that this is the Stack API and this is what we have questions. Okay, it has 0 question. If I'll want to add question, then I can write it manually. I can make some votes, views, but I don't want to write anything manually. What I want is that I want to use the REST APIs to do this. Okay, so now what I'll do basically you can say to register all the APIs, or to make the APIs, we will use the REST framework, and then we will add the data using our scraper algorithm. So what I have to do now, we will go back to views. Now we have one index. Okay, let's leave it. Now what I'll do, I'll make a class. First of all, I'll use the REST framework. Okay, and I will import from the REST framework, I will import view sets. So view sets, what it will do, it will give me a model view set which can be used to directly make APIs by default for all my models, or whatever model I will specify. Then I will use from dot models, I'll import my question model here. Now for making this REST API work, we have to write one more class which will be serializers. So serializers.py. okay, serializer, it should be serializer. Let's write this serializer. Okay, so we have this serializer.py. Now from REST framework, first of all, so this is a part of REST framework. So first of all, we will import serializers. Now we will make a class and we will name it question serializer. Okay, serializer, and then we will specify here the parent of it, which is serializers.model serializer, because we want to use the model to create the APIs here. Now we can have another class meta. The purpose for it will be that here we will specify which model to use for this question serializer. So again we will use from dot models import question, and then for the model here, one second, for the model part we will use this question model, and then we have to specify what fields I want to use. So I will right now I'll use all the fields, so I can use something like this to define all the fields, or I could write something like question, question views, something like this. So it will include only these fields, but I want to include everything, so this all will work. Okay, so this is all I have to do for this question serializer. Now I go back to views here. Now I'll make a new class which I will name question API. Okay, and here I will use this view sets dot model view set. So then what I'll do, here we have this model view set which we are inheriting using this REST framework, and then after this what I want here, I have to specify the query set. Query set is that from where the data will come. So it will come from this question. So this question dot objects, it will fetch all the objects, and then dot all, which means all the objects of this particular question model. Now this is the query set. Now also we have to specify the serializer class. So we can just use serializer import question serializer, and here for the serializer class we can just write question serializer, and that's the only thing you have to do. Now how the routing will be done by REST framework, for that we will go to urls.py for the last time, and now here from REST framework we will import routers, and now we will make a router using this routers. So routers dot default router, and then using this default router we can register our router. Okay, register, what's happening? Okay, so this register will, if I'll just try to show you what it actually takes, can I? Okay, so basically this register will take few arguments. First will be that what will be the for these APIs, what will be the URL or what will be the identification URL. So I will name it question. So whenever you will write the localhost slash stack slash questions, then this API thing will work. And then we have to specify which method or class to call. So here from dot views we have already the views, we have imported index, as well as we will import question API, and we will specify here question API. And then we have to include this routers as well. Oh, this is a problem, router dot register. And if I now cut it, yes, so this is fine. So we have to use this router. Now we have to include all the URLs which will be generated by REST framework, and we will add to this path. So here I will first of all write include, and then here this will be blank as it is, and then we can just say router or include router dot URLs. Okay, this is fine. Now let's see if we have so let's clear it. Now this is all good. Now what I have to do, I'll just run my server, I'll go to this URL. Now if you go to main URL, we know that our app is using this stack by default, and then we have few URLs. One is the blank, and the second one is this router which starts with the questions. So we can just write stack slash questions. So first of all let's write stack. It will give us the success which we are generating from this particular view. This is the view from where we will getting the success. Now I'll write questions, and then you can see I have this Django REST framework activated, and right now we don't have any questions, so it is giving me this blank questions. And also it is giving me to post data, so we can use this HTML form to add question, word count, views and tags, and then we can go to the question number, let's say 1, and it will give me the options. So right now detail not found it is saying, and if I'll go directly to JSON version of it, then maybe, and so this is what I will get, not found, and it is looking pretty cool, right? And everything is working fine. You are getting the response as 404 not found. You can delete from here, so it is giving you all the UI as well. So now REST framework is working. Now the only thing we need is that questions. Okay, and now what we are going to do here, we will add the question to our this question objects. So we will write another method here. So I can write latest. What it will do, it will take a request from us, and it will write all the questions for us by scrapping it from the Stack Overflow. So for that we will import these two things, which is import requests and these three things. Okay, so first of all let me just copy this beautiful soap. I'll write it here, and then I will write two import statements. First will be import requests, and then it will be import JSON. Okay, now what I'll do here in the latest, what I want to do, I will write these 4 lines first of all, and I'll just do the proper indentation. Okay, so now this is good. Now what we are doing, I have already explained you in the last video, you can check that out. And let me just delete this, we don't need anymore. So it will give us the questions. Now I want to do the iteration as well, so I'll copy this. So before copying this, what I'll do, I'll make a try catch as well. So try, and then we will make a catch as well. So here I'll write this code, and I'll do some indentation here as well, and I'll delete this as well. So what I have right now, for every questions in this questions, I want to add it. Okay, So how we can add it? So we already have the model, so I can make like this. I can use this model. Let's say question is equal to this question. Okay, this is the model which we are fetching from here, this question which we are using here as well. And now to this question we have all the arguments like question dot question. So this question is basically an instance field of this class question. This is the object, question object. So we can say question dot question is equal to q. Okay, this is the q, which is the question we are getting. I know it is a little bit confusing because the names I have been giving to them, but it's fine. So and the next will be question dot vote count. This is what we created. So this thing, this particular thing is we are getting from the models. So model, we have question, vote count, views and text. So we'll go back here, and vote count we will get from the vote count. Then views we will get from question dot views we will get from views only. And then we have question dot tags, which we will get from views, tags, and that's it. Now after we are done with this, then we can just call question dot save. It will save the entry to our database, and then if everything is working fine so far, then after this for loop we can return an HTTP response that latest data fetched, okay, from Stack Overflow. Okay, so this is what we are doing. So now let's say if we get some kind of exception, so that's why I have used this try catch. So here I can accept any problem like this. So this is the try, which is working fine, I guess. Oh, I have done something wrong, I guess. So we need to do some indentation here like this. Okay, this is fine. Now here for the try I will write except and e as exception. Let's say exception, this can be an exception, and then if there is an exception then we will return an HTTP response saying failed. Okay, failed. And we can write this exception as well. So we will write something like this, and we will use this f. Okay, so this is what we have done. So this is the latest method which will be called whenever we want to refresh and we want to put some questions in our API. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Now for this we have to make another URL. So I will go to URLs, and this time here I will add another URL which we will call latest, to fetch latest questions. And here I can just say okay, so I can just add latest here, and I can just say latest, and then we can name it, let's say latest. Okay, you can name it anything which you want. It's just my way of doing things. Oh, we are getting some error. Let's try to run the server because we have done a lot of changes here. So it's working. Yes, it's working. So now I'll go back to my browser, and first of all this is the stack which should show success, which is fine. Our admin panel, which is also working. Questions, we have 0 questions. And then this is the REST framework, which is for this, and we have 0. Now I will copy this URL, and rather than this stack slash I will write latest to fetch all the latest question. It will take some time. So as soon as I'll enter, you can see it is taking some time, and it is saying latest data fetched from Stack Overflow. So which means everything worked pretty good for us, and we have reached to this position and question has been saved. Now if I'll go back to my Django admin, then let's click these questions, and you can see we have a lot of questions, but we are not getting the question name. So how we can get the question name rather than this question object? So what I'll do, I'll go to my models, and here I can use one of the magic methods, which is slash underscore string underscore, and we will pass the self. If you don't know, then you have to maybe watch basics of Python. And here I can use self dot question, so that rather than that object we can get. So now if I'll go back here, I'll refresh it, then you can see I have all the questions. Oh, it's something weird. Oh, still we have, oh, so we have to return it first. Okay, we got a little bit mistakes every time. Now if I refresh it, you can see we have all these questions. Let's click one of them. How do I pull only one category? It has that 0 word count, views 3s, and text, WordPress, custom post type, and all that. It's okay, pretty good. libgdx 3 views. I have not fixed it to 3 views. Every question has almost 3 views. Oh, it has 4. Python. How can I debug this error? Okay, so this is working fine. Now we will go to our REST APIs. Okay, now I'll refresh this, and you can see all the questions with the REST API. Okay, it is returning a string, this tag, so we can maybe change it later, but this is what we got. And at the end we also have this option to put this data by manually. So everything is working. Now if you want to see the normal view, we can just say not JSON, and this is what we are getting. This is the API which we always wanted, right? And now if I'll go to the raw format, you can see this, right? Let's copy all of this and let's go to jasonlink.com, and then I will just validate this, and it is a valid JSON, and you can see everything is working pretty good. We have created our APIs, and this is not just a get request API, this is everything. I mean, you can, if I'll go back, then you can post here, you can, and if I'll write question slash, let's say I want to access the 10th question, then /10, and it will give me the 10th question, that unable to map string to object. Okay, now this is the question. Now the question will be changed as soon as I'll refresh this using this latest. I'll just hit this command and it will add more questions. So now if I'll refresh it, this will be my 10th question, but my database earlier it had 50 questions, now it should be 100. So now you can see we have 100 questions. So this is what we did, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So now we will make a web application for this in the next video, as well as we will make a Flutter application in the upcoming video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. The source code will be available on GitHub. If you enjoyed this video, then press the like button. Also subscribe to the channel if you're not the subscriber. Press the bell icon as well as to get the future updates, and let me know if you have any question in the comments or suggestions for these video tutorials. Thank you so much guys for watching. Have a good day and enjoy. Keep working.